We're joined today by musician Marichka. You might remember her from Balaklava Blues or the Lemon Bucket Orkestra. She's with a new project now called Daughters of Donbas, and she has a new single out. It's called 450. Marichka, how are you today?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you so much for joining me.
Of course. Thank you for having me.
Well, first of all, can you tell the listeners a bit about your music, maybe for those who haven't found you yet?
Yes, of course. So I'm Ukrainian-Canadian singer. I live in Canada for 10 years already, and I'm a musicologist professionally because I studied in Kyiv in a music academy. Like I studied classical music and folklore. So it's what I'm using in my different projects. It's a folk music I collected in a villages and a field trips. And sometimes I'm writing music like by myself, which is not related to folk music, to traditional music. And this project, Daughters of Donbas, that we work in with Daniel Rosenberg, now dedicated to kids stolen by Russians in Ukraine. It's a mix. So from one, sometimes I'm using folk music, sometimes I'm just writing my songs, what I didn't do for the last 10 years. And the song, what we plan to release in 3 days, 450, it's like song I wrote based on in the lyrics by famous Ukrainian poet Izbek.
Excellent. And this is a part of a larger project. You mentioned an album coming out, Songs of Stolen Children. Will that be released here coming up soon too?
I don't know how soon it will be. We just wrote the first song. So I hope so, because we already have songs, we already have programs that we plan to present in the Scarborough Festival in Toronto in July. So it's very exciting moment, and I feel that we're doing something very, very important to tell the world about what's happening in Ukraine.
Definitely. And you had mentioned 10 years since you were writing music. What is it about now that made you decide to come back? Is it everything that's going on in the Ukraine? Or
actually, it's probably the magic of my land to being at home. I was in Donbas, it's eastern part of Ukraine, where exactly like war happened. And the last year started to work there as a journalist and as a combat medic. So it's probably exactly magic in the air. I feel like I belong there. And it just happened. I was reading their newest poetry book that I bought in Kiev right before. And it just, some melody came to me and I started to write it down right on the book. Like write down music score to make sure I'm not forgetting anything. So it's probably what it is. Otherwise, I don't know how to explain it.
Well, as you mentioned, you were actually in Ukraine working as a war journalist, a medic. I mean, when it comes to life experience for songwriting, you can't get much more than that.
Yeah, I kind of wearing all these hats on me. Recently, I used to be a journalist before in Ukraine, but now it's kind of what I feel that I most needed. Especially, I can write in English right now, and I feel like I tell there a lot of interesting things that invisible on the news.
Well, yeah, a lot of songwriters would write songs about war and hardships and the like, but they wouldn't actually head to the front lines for inspiration. I mean, why is it so important for you to do that? Is it just because of your heritage and wanting to keep the folk traditions alive?
Well, I realized that I didn't think about that, but like Dan says, like Marichka, do you realize that you're only one singer in Canada that like actually being a war journalist going to Ukraine? And I never think about that. I'm just like as a human being, I feel like I have to be with my people in a tough time and do something that's useful. And I was, of course, 10 years ago, I was volunteering in the war as a singer, singing to soldiers. But this time, I think, well, maybe I can do something more. So I finished the courses, combat medical courses, got a certificate to be able to give it like first aid help in a war zone. And now I'm using my journalist practice, like to write about different things, not just what you can see on a TV, on a radio. So, for example, I'm very interested in doing a research about the humor, like soldiers' humor in the war, and learn about sex in the war, how they dealing with that, like being far away from their like partners. So it's what I'm learning about and integrating into my art, my music.
And again, the new single 450 is out, and I've read that there's going to be a documentary in the works here about your experiences as well.
It's another surprise. Like one day, like a year ago, there was a woman who's director in the Ethnic Channels TV. She wrote me and says, Marichka, I wrote a grant and I want to make a movie about you. Being a musician, being in Ukraine, making your foodies, and I have a line of jewelries made by using bullet shells, and it's kind of like good things making out of bad things. So like lots of things going on in my life, and that she wants to make a movie about me, and we call it exactly like coming single 450.
Yeah, that's incredible. Everything that you've got going on. And I know a lot of the listeners would know you from playing with Balaklava Blues or the Lemon Bucket Orkestra. I mean, you've done so much for Ukraine and just keeping the traditional folk songs and styles alive. Definitely, there should be a documentary about you.
I don't know, but it will happen with my footage of like being in Ukraine and performing here in Canada as well.
Will you be playing any shows, maybe on your own or with the Daughters of Donbas or anything like that coming up?
Yeah, I am now I am truly belong to Daughters of Donbas, and this is where I will present my new songs. Wonderful.
Yeah, definitely exciting for you and the listeners as well. Again, the Songs of Stolen Children, that album will be coming out soon, and the new single 450. You've got a lot going on, it seems like. Is there anything else maybe coming up we should be looking out for?
Oh, let me think. I'm writing a lot of articles right now that I will be happy to present somewhere, somehow, because I have a lot of materials, and I'm like freelance journalist, pretty much collecting materials for the documentary, but I have a lot to say, actually. Lots of interesting, absolutely unique things. Musically, artistically, I will work probably with another Ukrainian woman who wrote to grant exactly to work with me, particularly to integrate the folk songs there. And I just feel like everyone who is working with the traditional music, who's that used to collect songs in their country, it's a kind of time to collect stones and to bring it back. So this is my way to do something important and to bring it back to my country, to my people, to bring them around the world how it sounds like to be Ukrainian.
Wonderful. Again, thank you so much for your time, Marichka. I love the new song, and I'm excited to see the documentary, and hopefully we can speak again sometime.
No problem.
And again, that was musician Marichka. Her new single 450 is available now.